Research Methods in Neuroscience by Angela McCorley. Class, Psychology 625, Biological Basis of Behavior. Instructor Irene Nielsen. Brief overview. The article up for review is Emotion and Executive Functioning, the Effect of Normal Mood States on Fluency Task, which was written in 2010 by Janissa Carvalho and Rebecca Reddy. Emotions are something that we all experience but often don't think about. This article addresses how emotions are linked to the brain as well as the executive functions. There have been studies in regards to this before, however, this article builds on that. The study in this article investigates the associations between our moods and executive functions. Analysis of the research methodology used. The research methods used was or could be classified as data collection through computer-generated assessments of self-report emotions. They were also collecting data from verbal tasks administered by research assistants. To be more specific, the executive functioning tasks were the verbal fluency test and the design fluency test from the DKEFS, or more commonly referred to as the Dellis-Kaplan Executive Functioning System. Independent and dependent variables. The dependent variable could be considered the research in this particular article that used normative data from the Dellis-Kaplan Executive Function System Manual. They use this data to calculate standardized age-corrected scores. The independent variables could be considered the verbal fluency test, which was conducted in order to measure problem solving and creativity. Previous research found no correlation between the design fluency and motor performances. Study design. The study consisted of 74 participants. Out of the 74, there were 52 females and 22 males. The ages ranged from 18 to 88 years of age. The participants were made up of 87.8% Caucasian, 5.4% Asian American, 4.1% Hispanic, and less than 3% of African and Native Americans. The participants were screened for inclusion and exclusion criteria over the phone by a trained research assistant. This was done using a telephone interview for cognitive status modified. Each participant was assigned and completed a computerized assessment of self-report emotions. The participants were asked to respond either positively and negatively as an emotion was presented on a computer screen. They were asked to rate the emotion on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 equaling none and 5 for an extreme amount. The emotions were presented in 2 time frames, in today and in general. The emotions consisted of 30 positive emotions such as confidence and 30 negative emotions such as disappointment. The other part of the study were the verbal fluency test and the design fluency test. The verbal fluency test was used to assess phonological retrieval as well as simultaneous processing and monitoring. The design fluency test was designed and used to measure problem solving as well as creativity and inhibition. Explanation of the results. The research was able to show an association between verbal fluency and variations in our daily positive effects. This supported the associations between the 2 putative left hemisphere tasks, such as verbal fluency and positive moods. The research was able to show that the association between verbal fluency and the effect was targeted to positive effect with no significant association to negative effect. The evidence from the research suggests that left frontal activation occurs during positive effect as well as during verbal fluency tasks performed. The research was not able to find the anticipated association between design fluency. However, there was evidence that the induced negative effect was able to influence memory performance beyond that of everyday mood as induced negative mood results. Strengths and weakness of the study. One of the weaknesses of the study is that the majority of the participants were women. Some might say that cognitive differences may exist between genders, however, gender performance did not affect the results. The group was also mainly made up of Caucasians with a smaller portion of other racial and ethnic groups. One of the strengths of the study was that the data was not collected until 20 to 30 minutes after the test. This was able to show the association between the positive effect and verbal fluency over a larger amount of time. Suggestions on how to improve the research. I feel that this research is a good start. I also feel that with the assistance of digital imaging such as an MRI or maybe a PET scan, we would be able to see the reactions. I would also suggest that a follow-up study be done with the same participants. That way they are able to compare changes over time. For example, one person may just be depressed and 6 months down the road they're not, so their results would be different. You would be able to compare them. References include the article Emotions and Executive Functionings, the Effect of Normal Mood States on Fluency Tasks, written by Carvajal and Reddy.